Quick pre-frame to this lecture, it is in fact now obsolete. This is because Unreal has changed the behavior of the use pawn rotation. Previously, the use pawn rotation property, which if you watch through the lecture you'll see, used to only work when the pawn was possessed. Now it seems to work all the time, at least from 4.19 onwards. I'm going to leave the lecture in here because it does change the project state in GitHub, so you can watch this and see why I've done it that way on GitHub. But for 4.19 projects and onwards, this will actually cause you problems, so I don't recommend actually changing your project, but you might want to watch it for interest.
Welcome to Aiming Our First-Person Camera. In this lecture, we are going to be figuring out how we can get the first-person camera set up to aim along with that animation blueprint, the third-person animation blueprint. We're going to be doing that by basically overriding the behavior that Unreal tries to do automatically for us, do it manually instead, because due to optimizations, it won't be doing it on third-person characters, so we need to do that manually. So let's dive right in. So as we mentioned in the last lecture, we've currently got a problem where the guards aren't aiming up and down. Now the reason this is happening, if we go into the TP character and have a look at the setup, I want to look at particularly the FP camera and go to the details pane. Now in the details pane, I want you to have a look at there's a property called use pawn control rotation under the camera settings. Obviously this is checked right now, but the problem is this will only happen when you are the currently possessed pawn, when that camera is in use. Now, I just know that because of trial and error and having experimented with it, not because of the documentation having told me so. Unfortunately, that documentation hasn't been very useful, but the point is we cannot rely on this property. So I'm going to actually unset that property and check. I'm going to check that it actually doesn't work now. We don't go up and down, we just go left and right because that's rotating the whole pawn character rather than just the FP camera assembly. And I'm going to leave the rest to you actually because I think you can figure it out. So I would like you to see if you can make the camera rotate on tick. So every tick updating the rotation to look at the pawn's rotation. A few points to consider: update the camera's pitch rather than the whole rotation of the camera. And should you be using local or global coordinates? So pause the video and have a go at this little challenge. Okay, welcome back. Let's give it a shot. So here in the main event graph, I'm going to right click to create an on tick event. I don't believe it already exists. Let's find it. I just need to be looking for a tick. There you go. I'm getting things mixed up. So we've got our tick, and on tick we want to be setting the rotation of the FP camera. So it needs to be the local rotation. So I asked you the question, why local or why global? Because if we were to do the global rotation, then that would undo any rotation of the character itself. So it needs to be local. You can always try the global and see what I mean. But we're going to have a set local rotation. I do apologize. Let's select the FP camera and have that as the context for the rotation. I'm going to look for rotation, and here we go. Set relative rotation, not local rotation. That's why I couldn't find it. And then let's put the execution pin in that. And let's break apart, or let's make this new rotation. And because all we want to do is set that pitch, the pitch we're going to be taking from the desired control rotation of the pawn. So there you go, get control rotation. From that rotation I'm going to break it, break the rotator, and take the pitch and connect that up. So hopefully that should do the trick. And I'm going to actually select these items and turn them into a function, right click, collapse to function, and I'm going to call that function simply update camera rotation, so that it's self-documenting and keeps our event graph nice and clear. If we hit play, let's check that we can now go up and down. That's working correctly. We can also go side to side, and hopefully our AI dudes will now be aiming up and down. So it does look like they are aiming down, at least this one close to me is. So if I depossess and have a look at his camera arms, sure enough, they also are pointing down, and his bullets are firing at the ground. A bit too fast for me to even see them, but they must be pointing down at the ground because they are childed to the camera, which is also pointing at the ground. So congratulations, that was a quick lecture just to fix up that bug and show you the behavior that you wanted. Let's move on to the next lecture where we'll be opening up the terrain at long last.